Hello and welcome. This is Business Incorporated coming to you live from Lagos. I'm Chimize Obi-Iwago. Coming up on the program today, South Sudan's inflation doubles in July to reach an annual rate of 661.3%. South Africa's net foreign reserves fall slightly in August to $40.79 billion from $40.901 billion the previous month. Plus, the sale of British bank Barclays Egyptian business attracts bids from the two largest banks in Morocco and the United Arab Emirates. And we'll begin with that forum on investing in Africa. The second forum on investing in Africa opens today in Guangzhou, South China's province. The two-day event aims to promote experience sharing between China and Africa and to accelerate investment in African continent. Around 300 government officials, entrepreneurs and international organization representatives are scheduled to take part in the forum, jointly hosted by the China Development Bank and the Chinese government. And the China Overseas Infrastructure Development and Investment Cooperation Limited was set up at the opening ceremony. Many African countries want to speed up industrialization and agricultural modernization, and Chinese businessmen are eager to tap into the continent's growing market. And to the global market, and we'll begin in the U.S. as the market is yet to open for today's trade. However, stocks were higher on Tuesday as traders come back from a three-day holiday weekend in the U.S. VOA Channels TV business correspondent Jill Maladrino reports from NASDAQ market site.
Good evening from the NASDAQ market site. I'm Jill Malandrino. U.S. stocks opened slightly higher across the board to start the holiday shortened week, with merger and activity the main focus amid several billion-dollar deals announced this morning and over the weekend in the energy, healthcare, and industrial sectors. At the G20 meeting, leaders from the world's top economies broadly agreed at a summit in China on Monday to coordinate macroeconomic policies, but few concrete proposals emerged to meet growing challenges to globalization and free trade. So the question is, what does September hold for the markets? According to LPL Research, September is historically the worst month for the S&P 500. That said, most of the biggest September drops took place when the market was weak heading into the month. The good news for the bulls is that the trend in 2016 heading into September is rather strong. There's relatively little economic data and earnings events on the calendar this week. Most likely attention will continue to be on the Fed, global central banks, and interest rate hikes. But I would also look to the consumer for trades. Spending for back to school and college in the U.S. is expected to reach $76 billion this year. That's up from last year's $68 billion. This is according to the Retail Association National Retail Federation's annual survey. On Wednesday, September 7th, all eyes, whether you're media, tech, or just a consumer, will be on iPhone maker Apple as they host their event in San Francisco to show off its latest updates and presumably launch its new iPhone 7. Analysts are not expecting any groundbreaking features, but we can expect the stock to move as headlines come out and hit the tape. From the NASDAQ market site in Times Square, New York, I'm Jill Malandrino for Channels TV.
And for the European market, let's bring in now DWTV Channels TV financial correspondent Ulrich Bartz to talk to us. Good afternoon, Ulrich. Now, just as Jill said there, Apple is launching a new generation iPhone today. That's iPhone 7. Although the company is still facing a tax penalty by the European Union, so far there's been a lot of twist to this issue. Irish Parliament is debating the ruling, but some say Ireland will have to accept Apple tax payment. Do you see Apple winning this case of not paying this tax, and how much impact will that have on the company's business if they do pay the money?
Yeah, there's a lot of money at stake there in what the EU is demanding in back taxes. I don't think Apple has a very solid case because the EU clearly sees a case of preferential and unfair treatment of Apple there, unfair towards competitors, towards other countries, which are not reaching the same kind of deals that Ireland did. Ireland practically demanded very little taxes to no taxes from Apple. But of course, the end word will probably be with a court, because Apple and Ireland are going to contest this. The sum is large that's at stake, but for Apple, I don't know. I would hesitate to say it's from Apple's point of view, but huge cash reserves. It's making billions and billions of profit each quarter. So I think the company will digest this very quickly, but it won't hold back any investment, hold back any, let's say, creative work on new products, and I don't think it'll, in the end result, even be felt in the share if indeed Apple did have to pay it.
Well, Ireland Parliament is still debating that. Let's see what the outcome becomes. Now, a number of data coming out from Europe and UK, see German industrial output down, UK industrial production up, and UK manufacturing production down. How is the market reacting to these data?
The market is quite flat. As you can see behind me, there's a slight upward movement with the DAX, but it looks a lot better than it is. It's only about 0.4% there. The DAX is quite high. It's not far away from its annual high of 10,800 points. It's now at 10,728. So the market, I would say, is digesting the news well, that industrial production in Germany is down in July by 1.2% compared to the month before, and it's to be expected, but people say that, one analyst said that the German industry took a summer nosedive. The industrial engine is still stuttering, but considering the environment around German industry, it's not seen as a huge surprise here. So the reaction here quite muted in the market. If you will, similar situation in Britain. Their industrial production also down by 0.9%, and people saying that Britain is slowly feeling the effect of the Brexit shock. And fear there is that the industry could decline still further and come into very serious problems. Still, the British market also taking this in stride. The FTSE this afternoon, well, basically unchanged.
Right. Now, Germany's biggest car maker, Volkswagen, is still making news. Now, that company has unveiled plans to secure a new foothold in the United States heavy vehicle market by offering to buy a major stake in Navistar, the country's fourth largest truck maker. What will this deal mean for this company that have been battling emission scandal?
Yeah, it's a very surprising move, I think. On the one hand, it's not surprising that VW should see some kind of hole there in the United States where it's not represented yet, and Navistar where it can take a hold for an attractive price and move into the American market or to strengthen its truck division. But you mentioned the difficulties that VW is in. It's facing stiff penalties. Who knows how large the bill will be in the end, whether it can match the costs from raising new capital or credit or cash reserves. So people have been speculating it might even have to sell parts of the company in the end. And basically the first item to be sold would be trucks, because people think, people who know the business, car business, truck business, think that that's the worst fit in the Volkswagen lineup. So I think it's a little bit surprising that they're expanding just in this area right now.
Right, thank you very much for your time, Ulrich. Ulrich Bertz, DWTV, Channels TV financial correspondent, reporting there from Frankfurt Stock Exchange. And now to the Asian markets. Shares were mixed today as weaker than expected U.S. ISM services data lowered the chances the Federal Reserve will hike rates this month. Japan's Nikkei 225 finished down 0.41% as the yen strengthened against the dollar. Chinese mainland markets were mixed, with the Shanghai Composite closing nearly flat at 3,092.406 and the Shenzhen Composite finishing lower by 0.178%. In Hong Kong, the Hang Seng Index was down 0.24% by afternoon trade. South Korea's benchmark Kospi finished lower by 0.23%. And then South Sudan's inflation hit 661.3% in July. Details in a moment. To stay with us.